Good morning. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. I was laying awake this morning wondering what to say, and I'm going to start with what I thought I was going to end with. You know, each of us are threads in Wayne's life. And Wayne carefully wove those threads into a fabric that is still with us. It's a thread of love, a fabric of love that we have. So I'm opening with that, but then I'd like to share with you two condensed stories. I was with Wayne a long time, and I know how to tell a long story. But I promise you these are condensed stories. Two stories about how it is that I connected with Wayne and this fabric. The first was my midlife crisis, where I discovered that working in critical care in San Diego wasn't enough for me. I wanted to learn more about global civil society. I had been very impressed with the Earth Summit in Rio in '92, and little did I know that global civil society was greatly strengthened by some of you here and by Wayne at the '72 Stockholm Summit that we'll hear more about from Hero and Don da Silva. That I was just so taken with the global civil society that I knew was emerging that I changed my life and moved to the East Coast, first to Washington and then to Ottawa, to discover how to become a global citizen myself. And to be honest, I thought I was walking away from nursing. But then, and this is a much longer story, I'm telling you the short one. It happened that I was at the UN, and it happened that I was sitting in the coffee shop with friends to prepare for the United Nations Summit in Istanbul in '96. And Wayne came into the coffee shop. I'm not even sure why he was at the UN at the time. He walked into the coffee shop, sat down with us, and said, he heard that we had been invited to be in Istanbul. And he said, "Did you know that Florence Nightingale began her work in Istanbul?" And I said, "No, I didn't know that." He said, "Yes, and you know what you should do? You should do an international tribute to Florence Nightingale at the barracks where she began her work." So it happened. The lady organizing it faxed me 2 weeks later to confirm that the army base in Istanbul, that was then called Scutari, where Nightingale literally looked after wounded and dying soldiers, was a place where we could have an event. And I was privileged 4 months later to be keynoting at that event. And with that, I learned what Nightingale was already doing for global civil society, literally paving the way for us and she and many others at that time, and literally paving the way for nurses to be part of global civil society. And then I realized that paving the way for nurses was part of my destiny. And that was when Wayne was only an acquaintance of mine. And so the destiny, and to learn later that Wayne had literally been part of the tiniest team of people emerging global civil society, the global to grassroots connections that we're still working on. So now I'm going to close with a prayer that I created for that summit and that place that I was inspired by my cousin Janet McGurk to write. I will close with this prayer. Today, our world needs healing and to be rekindled with love. Once, Florence Nightingale lit her beacon of lamplight to comfort the wounded, and her light has blazed a path of service across a century to us through her example and through the countless nurses and healers who have followed in her footsteps. Today, we celebrate the flame of Florence Nightingale's legacy. Let that same flame be rekindled to burn brightly in our hearts. Let us take up our own lanterns of caring, each in our own ways, to more brightly walk our paths of service to the world, to more clearly share our own noble purpose with each other. May human caring become the lantern for the 21st century. May we better learn to care for ourselves, for each other, and for all creation. And through our caring, may we be keepers of that flame, that our spirits may burn brightly to kindle the hearts of our children and our great-grandchildren as they too follow in these footsteps. Thank you again for all of you to be here. It means the world. It means the world. Thank you.